What's up, guys? It's T here from TiandNiDaily, and it's time for a new video and a TiNiween video. TiNiween, you guys, we are back, and we're back with a little bit different style of video. Now, this is a style of video that I've been wanting to do for a few years, and honestly, a style that Bailey and Bentley have been telling me to do for quite some time. I love stories, I love history, and I love diving into why things are the way they are, whether it's movies, food, wars, everything in between, you guys. I'm really excited to share with you not only a makeup look, but the tragedies, the funnies, just the factuals of The Wizard of Oz. So let's jump into it. I'm going to be talking about The Wizard of Oz today because we're doing Dorothy's makeup. If you want to know what I'm using, it's going to be in the description box below. All right, so to start off, we need to talk about the book, which was The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, written by L. Frank Baum. He finished writing it in 1899, and it was published in 1900. Just a little bit of time ago. I'm going to start mapping out where I am going to creating my SFX, so that's what I'm doing right now. So Frank L. Baum and his wife loved their niece, Dorothy, which is why it absolutely broke their heart when she passed away at just 5 months from congestion of the brain. Also known as, well, we don't know for sure, but it could have been meningitis or syphilitis, but essentially there was inflammation in her brain. It's very tragic. So after she passed away, he named his main character Dorothy Gage after her. The movie was an adaptation of the book written by Frank, and the movie came out in 1939. All right, so let's talk about, don't worry, we're going to get to Dorothy. I want to save her for last. I'm going to quickly put on some primer. And yes, I know we just did the map out, but I was like, I want to do primer first. So we're doing that, then we'll go back in with the map. So Margaret Hamilton played the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. She actually suffered a pretty horrendous accident on the set of The Wizard of Oz. Try to make myself just a little bit lighter because Dorothy wasn't as tan. You know what I mean? So in the scene when Dorothy and Glinda the Good Witch are on the Yellow Brick Road in the Lollipop Guild, right? Their land. When she was going down the elevator, as she was disappearing, it actually got stuck. So because the elevator malfunctioned, she ended up getting stuck as she was going down right next to the pyrotechnics display. I know. And it actually caused severe burns to her face and her body, you guys. And get this, they continued filming. Now, we don't know because if they didn't know what was happening or they just wanted to finish the shoot, but they continued filming, but they did not ever end up shooting that part with her again. I mean, do you blame her? I'd be like, nah, we're done. Find your take. Find your take in one of those takes we did. I mean, where was the safety? I guess safety was a little bit different of a priority back then. I don't know, man. Yes, I know I look cray-cray. Now I'm going in with some blush because she has those rosy cheeks. So Betty Danko, Margaret Hamilton's stunt double, actually suffered an injury as well. She was flying on her broomstick when lo and behold, the pipe below it exploded. It exploded beneath her. It busted and she went flying through the air and she actually suffered a 2-inch wound in her leg. She was a trooper, though. She kept on trucking on. Ooh, there's more to this story, and I'll tell y'all in just a bit. Stunt doubles, side note, do not get enough credit. I mean, I'm starting to see them get more credit nowadays. Stunt people, they're amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the set. Because this movie was one of the first films filmed in Technicolor, it needed really big, bright lights to make sure you could see all the beautiful colors in the set and etc. That meant it got really, really hot. So sometimes the set would get upwards of 100 degrees and it would get so hot that they would have to shut off the lights and open up the doors and everything to let the actors and the crew members and everybody just be able to breathe, get some fresh air and lower the temperature. I'm telling you, bro, safety on this movie? What? Where? I don't know. All right, so Buddy Epson was originally supposed to play the Tin Man, but when he went in for his fitting for the Tin Man, he had a severe allergic reaction to the paint. So bad that he had to go to the hospital. I know, right? Like, what? Thankfully, he was okay. But because of the allergic reaction, they had made the decision that unfortunately he wouldn't be able to play the Tin Man. So enter in Jack Haley, who we all know and love as the Tin Man. Right, the Cowardly Lion. One of my favorite characters because my daddy would always do, if I were a king of the forest. And so I learned how to do it so that way I could make him laugh. All right, well, you guys just got one for free. So the Cowardly Lion was played by Bert Lahr. And the costume, I know, animal stuff really quick, was made out of a real lion skin fur. So because of this, the suit was incredibly hot. Hot. So hot that he sweated so much that they actually had to dry it every single day. Take it out, dry it. Like, that's gross. It was also so hot that he had to take it off in between each scene. Bro, you know what they never talk about? The smell. I feel like the smell would have been just rancid, right? Just me? Like, I feel like if you're sweating in a real fur skin suit, that is going to smell a little bit nasty. Just a little bit nasty. You know what I mean? Get this. The suit actually sold for $3 million at auction in 2014. $3 million. $3 million, bro. Apparently somebody really wanted that suit. All right, let's do the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road. I'm just gonna using some bronzer, by the way, and a nice clean detailed brush. So back in with the safety of the movie, let's talk a little bit about the poppy seed scene. So if you've watched the movie, you know in the poppy field, they have snow that comes up, right? But in this day and age when they were making movies, what they would use for the snow was asbestos. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what asbestos is, it is very toxic and can cause cancer. So I'll put a little definition right there. They would often use asbestos in many movies during this time because it was flame retardant and it really did look like snow. So thank God that we know of, no one was really harmed from the scene in the asbestos. So let's just be thankful they don't use that anymore. My goodness. Let's talk a little bit about the Munchkins. So most of the Munchkins were played by adult men, and it was rumored, alleged, that a lot of the men would come to set very intoxicated. And unfortunately would kind of give Judy Garland a hard time. This was rumored to be such a problem that they actually would bring some people on set to help keep the Munchkins or the men under control. Bam! I like it. All right, we're going to go in with a very fine angled brush. And I'm going to go in with black and I'm going to start outlining all of this. Then we're going to go in with the liquid liner. So let's talk about the ruby slippers. I know, right? So in Frank's book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the shoes were actually silver. Yeah, they were actually silver, not red. So how'd we end up with the ruby red slippers? Well, MGM was trying to make a big Technicolor movie, you guys. Snow White had just come out 2 years ago, and Disney was crushing it with that. They were like, we need a big hit. Thus, they ended up picking The Wonderful Wizard of Oz to create it into The Wizard of Oz. Now, because they were using Technicolor and not making a black and white movie, the silver just didn't pop. So it was actually screenwriter Noel Langley at MGM who said, you know what? Ruby red. That's going to just pop and pick up all the lighting, and again, especially against the yellow brick road. He was like, it's going to look great. Let's try it. They did. Lo and behold, it has become one of the most iconic pair of slippers in all through history. The ruby red slippers, you know immediately where they're from. And they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. The Wiz later on down the line. On down, hit on down the road. I love the Wiz personally, I do. But they tried to do the silver and it just didn't pop the same. Just didn't pop the same. So thank goodness for Noel being like, hey, let's try red. Scarecrow. I love the Scarecrow. Let me know down below. Comment down what was your favorite character from The Wizard of Oz. The Scarecrow was played by Ray Bolger, and he actually had to wear some really, really tough prosthetics on his face to achieve that straw scarecrow-like effect, right? Looked great in the film. Looked great. However, they used a lot of latex to get those prosthetics to stay on his face. And it was so tight on there and so hot with all the lights that we were talking about earlier that the latex actually fused in with his skin. The latex would melt and the latex and prosthetics would essentially get so stuck into his skin that at the end of filming every day, they had to rip it apart off of his face and then take some of his skin with it. I don't know about you guys, and y'all have watched so much of my SFX videos that you know how proper care, especially my eyebrows, I take when putting liquid latex on. And I tell you guys, protect your baby hairs, all that stuff. Can you imagine? I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine, and I have done plenty of prosthetics and liquid latex on my face. So because they were glued so tightly, and they did this every single day, they had to pull them off every single day, he actually had grooves left into his face. And it created scars that he was left with for forever. I mean, isn't that crazy? They're very faint, but scars nonetheless. So essentially, the Wizard of Oz became immortalized within him or on him. I'm going to do a very, very light shading around the brick area with the black, like that, to make it really pop out. Let's talk really quick about the flying monkeys. So the flying monkeys looked really cool on the screen, right? It looked like they were just wisping away, flying, having the good old time. Well, the flying monkeys were actually men in these costumes, and they were connected through piano wire. And sometimes this wire would snap. There's actually one of the men who played one of the monkeys that actually had fallen and gotten severely injured because of this. Now, of course, just like most of the things that we're talking about today, you didn't know about because they would quietly handle these incidents. Because who wants to think about the most magical movie that's, you know, in Technicolor and out having all of these problems? All right, I'm going to line this, but off camera, as I found it is very difficult to do while talking. So let's go into Dorothy's side really quick. Well, Dorothy's pretty side. And we're just going to start off with a beautiful brown, light brown in the crease. I know Dorothy's look is very subtle, other than the lips, which brings us to our next factoid. But I kind of want to go a little bit more with it. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and go in with a beautiful light blue baby. It's called Super Cluster. It's from the Anastasia Cosmos palette. I love this palette so much. So I am going in with Space Dust in the crease. And then we're going to go in with that blue. So in the book by Frank Baum, Dorothy is only 8 years old. So how do we end up with Judy, who's a teenager? Well, they originally wanted Shirley Temple. I know, she's adorable. I definitely think that would have been cute, but I see why they went with Judy. Shirley Temple had the looks. She obviously has the talent. But when it came to singing Over the Rainbow, she was a little too young to be able to give that oomph that Judy went with Judy, but they still had problems making her appear younger. They had a blonde wig at one point. They had too much makeup on at one point. They had taped down her bosoms area to make her look younger. Inevitably, they ended up taking off most of the bold makeup and going with a more natural look and doing the lip. And then they ended up going with her real hair, just giving her a more youthful vibe. Much as I think that Shirley Temple would have killed that role, I'm glad that we got Judy Garland to bring us that beautiful Somewhere of the Rainbow. Well, continuing with Judy Garland, this poor sweet girl went through so much for this movie, including getting constantly called fat. Yes, Judy Garland, okay? Even before she was on set, actually in costume and playing Dorothy, they considered her too chunky, so they put her on a very strict diet consisting of black coffee, chicken soup, and cigarettes. And Garland wasn't the only one put on a diet in this film either. No, Margaret Hamilton, who plays the witch, was actually put on an all-liquid diet because of her green paint, which was very toxic and had copper in it. Yes, which is also part of the reason why she got so badly burnt when she was stuck in the elevator, because of all that copper in her green makeup. Oh, so dangerous. I'm going to put on my lashes really quick and line this, and then I will be back for the green. We are back. I did my lashes, mascara, put white in my eye on this side, on Dorothy's side, and then we just lined it with black. We didn't do anything else with it. We're going to. But before we do like the little edges and everything and the red lip, because I don't want anything to affect the red lip, we're going to do the green now. With this look, I wanted it to be Dorothy, and then not just the storyline, but with all the tragedies and dark, disturbing facts behind the movie, I thought, let's do a little bit of darkness on this side of the face. So we're going to do like a green sploosh right here, and then going into lines. Almost like the Emerald City is trying to become one with her. So I was just talking about Margaret Hamilton and the copper in her makeup. Well, back to that really quick. Margaret actually took 6 weeks before she even came back to the movie, and she wasn't completely healed yet. She even thought about suing MGM, but she decided not to because she was afraid that, frankly, she'd never get work again, which I don't blame her. Let's be honest. We've come a long way. Back then, though, especially for women, you kind of made a fuss, you spoke too much with your mouth, and you were out. So she decided, you know what, better to just let sleeping dragons lie, and she didn't go through with the lawsuit. She did, however, put her foot down when it came to the next scene with fire and said, no, ma'am, no, sir, I will not be doing that. And her stunt double, Danko, who we mentioned earlier, did end up doing that stunt for her. And to nobody's shocker, she actually did end up getting burnt as well. Is that not insane? Is that not crazy? No wonder Margaret was like, no, thank you. Because with the safety or lack thereof on this movie, I mean, it's not too far-fetched to say that it's a high chance you'll get injured in some capacity. So because of these burns, Danko was actually hospitalized for 11 days. The studio would go on to pay her $35 US at that time, which in today's money is about $630 US. That's it. This woman got injured, burned, had to be in the hospital for 11 days, came back, and they were like, here's $35 US. I don't know, that just seems very not okay to me. In an interview that Danko would later give, she said, I felt as though my scalp was coming off. I guess that's because my hat and my black wig were torn loose. Is that not tragic? That sounds incredibly painful. Incredibly painful. And again, $35 US. One moment, I cannot talk while I'm doing this little part. All right, so back to Judy. Talked a little bit about her weight loss. Well, that's not the only thing that they used to give her. Really quick disclaimer, we are going to be talking about some rugs. Judy Garland would actually talk about this quite a bit, especially in her memoir, and that she was given sleeping pills when she couldn't sleep, or when they needed her to get to sleep quickly in between, not just on this movie, and other movies as well, throughout most of her career, to get to sleep quickly, to get a little nap in, and then pep pills, so that way she could be super peppy and get right back into it. This would cause, unfortunately, years and years long addiction for Judy Garland. It's very unfortunate that this was pushed on a child, you guys. So along with those, she was given diet pills to also help her lose the weight and keep it off. I'm gonna go in with the ColourPop Beetle Chrome. Really quick, I just want to take a second to show you guys what it's gonna look like before I start talking again. Isn't that gorgeous? That is, look at that. Look at it. Yay for this, not yay for the next part of history, you guys. So there was a scene where the Cowardly Lion is being the Cowardly Lion, being all adorable and cutesy. And it's funny. It's funny. Judy Garland was having the hardest time not laughing on set. And they would do take after take after take. And Judy was giggling just profusely, right? And she was supposed to slap the Cowardly Lion. They kept having to do these retakes because she couldn't stop giggling. Victor Fleming, the director, said cut, pulled Dorothy aside, and slapped her on her cheek. Yes. After Victor slapped her on the cheek, he reportedly said, "Now go and work." Yeah, because that's definitely what I would want to do right after being slapped. Well, allegedly, Victor felt so bad that he asked the crew to punch him. But instead, Judy Garland, being her sweet self, and also, I'm sure, very similar to Margaret's position, not wanting to agitate any of the jefes, el jefes, if you will, you know, the bosses, simply gave him a little peck on the nose and went back to work. Crazy, right? Oh my. If any man slapped me in the face, peck on the nose would probably be my last thought to give you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let's go and talk a little bit about Toto. So Toto was actually a female Saran Terrier. I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but I'll put it right here. Named Terry. Toto is not only super cute and one of my favorites because I love doggos. I love all animals. Terry made $125 US a week for his role. Comparatively, the Munchkins made around $50 a week. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing about that. Toto was one of the main characters, so to speak. He's in so many, she, Toto the character is a he, but the dog Terry, she's a female. So she is in most of the scenes. Right? Not to say that Toto did not deserve what he got paid, because he definitely did. But, you know, maybe the Munchkins should have been paid a little bit more as well. Terry's human would go on to say that they wish they had asked for more money, admittedly. And yeah, like I said, he's one of the main characters. So, I don't know. Crazy. Some interesting facts. Dorothy's dress was actually not blue and white. It was blue and light pink. And this was done on purpose so that it could show up better in the, you know, Technicolor world. It was actually very innovative for its time. All right, we got some liquid latex. You guys know what that means. We're getting on to the parts where we stick stuff to our face. We're going in with these, look at this, emerald colored rhinestones. So the ruby red slippers were actually stolen at one point. But before we get to that part, in one of the places you can see the ruby red slippers is in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. They were anonymously donated there in 1979. And it's funny, I've actually been there quite a few times. I used to live in Maryland and spent a lot of weekends in Washington, D.C. So I saw the slippers a lot. I loved them. They're so beautiful in person. Actually, that's one of the most viewed items in the museum, that the carpet in front of it has had to been redone and redone and redone because it gets so much wear and tear. The other pair was in the Grand Rapids and it was on display and everything was going great in 2005 until somebody has to ruin it for the rest of us. They stole the ruby red slippers, and get this, it went on for 13 years before they were found. 13-year manhunt went down and on before they were found. And it was the FBI who actually had to get involved. They did get the slippers back. You know how the Tin Man has machine oil running down his face? Well, they didn't really want to use machine oil, so they used chocolate syrup. Yeah, chocolate syrup is what's running down his face. Now this next one is a little far-fetched and has not been confirmed. But Professor Marvel claims that he actually wore Frank Baum, the author of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, his jacket. So the story goes that the wardrobe department purchased a tattered coat from a secondhand store, and the tag said L. Frank Baum. If that is true, pretty cool, coming full circle. But I don't know. It seems a little far-fetched. But stranger things have happened in this world. Stranger things have happened. Crazy other fact, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, the iconic song that I definitely love singing, was almost cut. Yeah. Well, apparently, they thought that the 3-minute song was too long, first off. Secondly, they thought that children wouldn't resonate with it. They just wouldn't understand what the song was about. Fortunate for us, one of the executive producers fought like butt to keep it on. He was like, no, I feel like this is important. Judy, it's her moment. It is her moment. And it's so beautiful. Anyway, like I said, fortunate for us, he fought for it. And now we have that iconic scene and song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So Glinda, the Good Witch, played by Billy Burke, so beautiful, so beautiful. Speaking of her beauty, when they filmed that, she was 54 years young. So obviously not old by any stretch of the imagination, right? But she was 18 years Margaret Hamilton Sr. And girl looked banging.
I'm Glinda, the Witch of the North. You are? Oh, I beg your pardon, but I've never heard of a beautiful witch before.
Seriously, she looked beautiful. Hello, hello, hello. I am back. Look at how cool this looks. Right? I can't find my lip liner anywhere. My red lip liner. Literally anywhere. So it's okay. We're going to make do. And for those of you wondering, I have lupus. That's what these marks are right here. It's when they did biopsies or had to cut things out. So that's why my lips are a little wonky. Kind of always have to readjust them. We're going to go in with this shimmery glitter. Look at this. Okay, what I will say, don't eat glitter, guys. I would normally not put this near my lips, but I'm just going to use it for the pictures and for the video, and then we're going to take it off. I'm not going to eat or drink with this on. Okay? So while we're doing that, ooh, that's red and juicy. Another fun fact, Liza Minnelli, Judy Garland's daughter, married in 1974 Jack Haley Jr. That's right. the Tin Man's son. Isn't that cute? Lipstick. Anna! Dorothy's daughter married the Tin Man's son in 1974. In 1979, they did divorce, however. So. And this is the finished look, you guys. I love it so much. You guys can find this costume. It is Dorothy. It comes with this, the ribbons. It also comes with some white gloves, a little basket, and a blue bow that matches this for your doggo. So y'all know I'm about to go put it on Harley. Fun fact, really quick, last fact. The horse that you see that changes colors, they use Jello and vegetable oil for that. Right? Crazy. They actually had to quickly film that because the horses were trying to lick themselves because I guess it tasted so good. It's food coloring, Jello, and vegetable oil. You gotta get creative, as long as it didn't harm the horses or any of the animals. You can find this full set Dorothy costume on my Amazon storefront. I'll link it down below. Thank you so much to Amazon for sending us this costume. Alrighty, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope you guys enjoyed this video and are happy that TiNiween's back. Alright, so make sure you give this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, because there's going to be many more TiNiween makeup looks and just looks in general, outfits, ideas, videos that I've got brewing in this brain of mine, so you don't want to miss it. Alright, I love you guys so much. Do something that makes you smile today. You guys stay wonderful and have a gorgeous day. Bye, guys.